The ABS system is about to change baseball forever. Let me explain. So we've got our first taste of the ABS system in the MLB so far this season. It is only April, so we haven't seen much of it. We don't get too much of a big look at it because you only get 2 per game, so teams have to be very smart about when they are exactly going to use the ABS system challenge. So teams and players have to be very smart and careful when deciding when they are going to challenge a pitch. A lot of the times it could be looked at as selfish if, let's say, you challenge a pitch that ends up being a strike and there was 2 outs and no men on in the second inning. Now you only have 1 for the rest of the game on both sides, pitching and hitting. So it's very interesting to see how teams are using them so far. The reason I say it's going to change the MLB forever is because I think with how successful and how much people are liking it so far this season, the MLB eventually is going to allow more challenges per game. If not in the near future, unlimited challenges, which would be a little crazy, I must say, but with the way things are going, who knows? Another reason I say it's going to change the MLB forever is because, again, we've only seen it now in April. What about trying to make a playoff push? What about in the playoffs? Bottom of the 9th, man on second and third, 3-2 count, you strike him out, you start getting hype, he challenges, it's a ball. Your whole mentality has changed. An example I could think back to is just a couple of weeks ago when the Mets and relief pitcher Huascar Braziban got a called strike 3 to get Freddie Peralta out of a jam. Everyone began to walk off. Diamondbacks challenged, it was ruled a ball, and then Braziban fell apart. It's going to be a big change for pitchers to have to try to keep that adrenaline down after a strikeout because it may not be a strike unless they swing at it. That is a big difference. You are usually used to seeing that punch-out call and then getting hype and running back to the dugout. Now you get hype, your adrenaline's up, and it's a ball, and you got to get back on the mound, and you still got to get that out. Completely different game. It truly changes everything. I also think that there should be almost a checklist for these umpires. Tally up how many calls do they miss throughout the season. If they miss X amount of calls, they're gone. Not that you couldn't check that before, but now it's so easy with the ABS system. You could see how many calls were overruled when they were behind the plate. I'm not calling for anyone's jobs here. I know how hard it is to be an MLB umpire. It's almost impossible. That ball's coming in a million miles an hour. They're good at their jobs. I'm not doubting that. Some aren't, though. Regardless, it really makes me wonder if we are going to have a need for home plate umpires in the near future. With how well this system is working and how accurate it has been, I really don't see a need for them. You can almost just have a little robot voice behind home plate that says strike or ball depending on where the ball goes. I also find it very interesting that pitchers aren't really the ones to make the challenge calls. It's really more so the catcher and the batter. I don't know if it's because the catcher knows the strike zone better or the pitcher doesn't want to show up the umpire, but very rarely will you see a pitcher tap the head. On the catching side, I've seen some catchers that are very successful with it, but they seem to be kind of hesitant. Going back to what I said earlier, you don't want to put your team in a bad spot because you only get 2, and if you're wrong on both, that's it, you get no more. So if it is like the 5th inning and there's no men on base and there's 2 outs, sometimes I guess they feel it's not really worth a challenge. I don't know if I agree with that or disagree with that because I've watched games where it's a clear ball and the catcher will just kind of accept the call because he doesn't want to be selfish and put his team in a bad spot. But listen, if you're the catcher, you know the strike zone better than anyone on the team, and you're very confident that it's a strike, go ahead, challenge it. But then, again, at the same time, I do understand not wanting to challenge because you don't want to put your team in a bad spot, and it has to be quick. It's a quick decision. You only get 2 seconds to decide whether you are going to challenge the pitch or not. So it's something the players definitely have to get adjusted to. It is only April. I think it is working so well so far. Players have to make adjustments. The game moves very differently with it. As we spoke about, the adrenaline, knowing when to challenge. Listen, if I was an umpire, I'd start getting petty with it. If someone was arguing balls and strikes and they didn't challenge, I'd say, oh, you should have challenged then. Like, I feel like it kind of gives the umpires a little bit more power too, because if there is a discrepancy and they don't challenge, you could say exactly that. Oh, should have challenged. Not my fault. It's not up to me anymore. Now you can have the option to challenge. But if they're out of challenges, then they still might argue. Regardless, this is really new to all of us, and it really is changing the MLB forever. So that's it. Quick video. Drop your takes below in the comments. Are you liking ABS so far? Do you think it's a little bit too much? Are you an old school type of person, and do you believe that the balls and strikes should just be called by the umpire and it is what it is? I'd love to hear some baseball fans' takes on this. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It really helps with the growing of this channel. And that's it. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you, and I'll catch you on the next one.